yoga class, we are going to be working on twists as well as hip openers. And all you need for today's practice is a lawn bolster or a pillow. This is a pillow from a department store, as well as 2 blocks if you have them. As always, if you like my content and you want to support my stuff on YouTube, you can head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/Irene Yoga Flow to support my work here. All right, let's take our bolster, our lawn pillow, whatever we have, and place it so that's in the middle of our mat, lengthwise. What we're gonna do is we're gonna scooch our bum right to the end of it. All right, once you have this pillow set up, your bolster set up, you can come to stand on your knees, sit back onto your toes, pitch forward so that you can place your toes out to the sides, untuck the toes, and then sit back in between your heels. Once you have that position, you want to have the straddle right against your bum. You want to lean back. One arm, then the other arm, maybe sliding the arms long against you. You want the bolster to be also supporting your neck and head as well. So if you're finding that the bolster is a little short, you can also take your blocks and place them underneath the head. If you need a little bit more cushion and support, you can always place the blocks underneath the bolster as well. So once you have this general asana, I invite you to make any adjustments or modifications that you need to in order to make this pose yours, to put your authentic step on it. This pose that we are in is a supported fish pose with straddle, a variation of sorts. You can let the arms fall down by the sides. You can let them open up like wings on either side. You can also close the eyes if that feels comfortable, if that feels soothing for you. And I invite you to connect with each inhale and each exhale. Inhaling for peace, exhaling out what doesn't serve you. Inhaling for rest, exhaling out what doesn't serve you. Inhaling for compassion for yourself and for others, exhaling out what doesn't serve you. And throughout this practice, if you need to adjust or modify or take a break, feel free to do so. Online classes are sometimes a little bit harder because you have much more freedom. There really is no one telling you what recommendations to do for your specific body. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of bravery, a lot of courage to sit with ourselves. To sit with ourselves without shame or judgment or guilt or fear, anger, sadness. So just begin to settle in, noticing where you're at today, making a promise to yourself that today's practice will be one of love, will be one of devotion. Because I honestly believe that we can have discipline, we can have tapas without punishing ourselves. So in yin yoga, we hold these poses longer. We are passively stretching the best way to get at our ligaments, our tendons, and our joints, generally speaking. And in order to passively stretch, we must be with the stillness without moving for longer periods of time than we may be used to in our vinyasa class. And so if you ever feel that your practice is stagnating, or you're not able to learn anything and get to another peak, it's important to try different styles of yoga, different styles of exercise as well. There are many different ways to practice yoga, and this is simply one of them. And it's important we explore and deepen our practice and let this practice be real and multifaceted, three-dimensional, knowing that it's so vast, and having a deep respect and reverence for our practice, knowing that it can be fitness, it can be stress relief, but it can also be healing and have therapeutic benefits. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras 1.2, Patanjali states that yoga is the cessation of the mind fluctuations. Right? So yoga is when we can still the mind and be able to bear witness to our true self, not the self that gets wrestled up by the nature of this world, by the elements, the qualities of the world. Knowing that we are like a pool of water, of lake water, and that the ripples on the surface sometimes distort who we are, so we can't really behold ourselves. So this yoga practice helps us to go inwards, build that inner transformation. And it is happening day by day, even if you may not be noticing it. So I hope that in practicing these next 30 or so minutes, you do build a deeper love and realization of how wonderful this practice is when we give it our fullest present attention. Got a few more minutes left in this pose. And if you need to, you can always come back out, take a break, but know we're going to be here for the next few minutes. Some yin yoga classes, you can hold a pose for about 10 minutes or so, and it is it's a very tough class. So I invite you always to listen to your body and see if, you can play with that edge, right? But also knowing that some days are harder, some days it is hard to take a breath. How you can have a sustainable practice is not by going hard every day, or else you will deplete yourself, especially when you are focused on a very physical aspect of yoga, especially when you are just doing asana. I have definitely overdone it on the physical limb of yoga, and now I do take breaks, right? You don't want this practice to deplete you. You might feel a temporary tiredness or achiness or soreness, but that should go away and you should have energy. If you're finding yourself still tired days after the practice, fatigued, dizzy, those are signs that you may be pushing past your limit, right? And this practice is knowing when it's ego, when it's self-serving ego and will, and when it is opportunity for growth, for challenging yourself, for going somewhere new. So can you let go of what you think this moment should be and just simply embody it? Observing any thoughts or feelings that come up without doing anything about them. Take an inhale, breathing in deep, full lungs. And exhale, let the belly fall. Alright, let's take one more inhale here. Breathe it in through your nostrils. And exhale, sigh it out. If you had your eyes closed, softly blink them open. Place your palms on your heels, let your elbows dig against the mat, and press yourself up using the strength of your arms, slightly tucking in your chin for a little bit more support, and slowly place the right palm on the ground to leverage yourself up, then the left hand up. Shift the weight over to one side of our hips. Swing the legs straight in front of us. Ooh, let's shake them out. You know you're doing a yin class when you feel very, very fragile to the most smallest movements here. All right. You can move the bolster off to the side. Place your legs as though you're about to cross them, and we're gonna plant the right foot on the outside of the left knee. Wrap our left elbow around that right knee and look back behind us using our right hand like a kickstand. So the fingers on the right hand are tented behind us and we're looking over our shoulder. I'm just gonna move so that you can also see this from another point of view. We're coming into half Lord of the Fishes, okay? So as we inhale, just lift the spine nice and long. And as you exhale, look back over the right shoulder. Gripping the right knee with the eye of the left elbow. Coming into a twist for the upper body. Getting into that side body, which requires a strength in our core and openness in the shoulders. Getting a nice spinal twist in the upper half of our body. As always, connect to your breath. Build a relationship, a real one where you are really listening to each inhale and each exhale that you're taking. Your goal is to have smooth, deep breaths. Soft, balanced, steady, full of ease and gentleness, so that your breath can help your nervous system calm down, to help you feel safe in this pose. When our breath is constricted, shallow, bundled up, so too it's sending signals to our nervous system, right? And so the breath is the only autonomic nervous system response that we can modulate and regulate and control and manipulate through these pranayama breathing exercises. When I started breathing intentionally in these yoga poses, it really unlocked something for me. Breath is so powerful, and it's really what makes yoga so different from all the other physical modalities, because there is this acknowledgement of breath and how it works. You can also wrap the right arm behind the low back, placing the right hand over the left hip. And if you need to take a break at any time, please do so. And if you want to go for that bind, you can also grip the fingers together by placing the left hand through the little space you've made with the bent right knee. All right, and as with any binds that you take, it should help you create some more spaciousness in the pose rather than crimping you. So if you find that you're rounding over, losing the balance, then maybe the bind isn't the most suitable for today's practice. But if you're finding it actually makes the pose easier, then work on your grip, work on that bind. Slowly, let's unravel and grip the fingers. And we'll do the other side, so bend the right knee down on the floor, cross that left foot over the right knee, and then left hand behind you like a kickstand. Look over the shoulder, maybe first the right palm on the left knee, and then maybe the crook of the elbow, right? So there is no final destination we need to get to. Just adjusting, modifying, whatever feels good. Whatever feels like you can hold this and breathe. This is what I invite you to start to see. You can wrap the left hand, left arm behind the low back so that the left palm is lightly resting on the right hip. Continue to lift the chest up as you inhale and exhale. Stay here, nice and long, supported and strong, like you know that you are. Like bamboo, flexible but very sturdy, very hardy, right? But supple, agile. And if it feels right, you can also begin to bring the right hand through the space of your bent left knee and grip the fingertips together for a nice little bind if that serves you today. Breaths here, and if you need to come out, please do so. And slowly, let's turn back to center, readjust the legs, shake them out. All right, let's place that bolster off the mat if you haven't already. Come into a tabletop position, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and move the booty up, back and up in your first down dog. In this practice, maybe pedal out the heels, widen the space between the feet. Inhale, lift the right leg up towards the sky. As you exhale, bend the right knee in and step the right foot to the middle of your mat and lower the back knee. Then we're going to heel toe the right foot to the width of the mat, okay? Let's begin to lower the left hip, descend it towards the mat. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna place the left hand out left side of the mat and begin to press the right knee away with the right hand. All right, we're coming into Twisted Dragon. So I'm currently reading Bell Hooks' All About Love. As always, her work is amazing, and in it, she shares about how our society is very cynical about love, yet it is obsessed with love at the same time. And in each chapter, she talks about what love is and what it isn't from a feminist point of view. And so there is a real fear of love, of being open to it, because for those of us who believe in it, we're seen as soft, as weak. And so there is a definition of love that Bell Hooks likes, which is one about how love is a choice, it's an act of will, and how love is when we are pursuing our spiritual growth and helping the spiritual growth of others. And she talks about how love is not abuse, that there can be no love when there is abuse. And she talks about how lying is not a part of love either. And she specifically talks about it within dynamics of childhood, family dynamics, as well as in relationships. And I think here we can also reflect back on how we might be scared of loving ourselves, how we might be scared of opening up to what that can really mean, right? And trying to love ourselves, sometimes we may be hurting ourselves, right? Trying to push ourselves to go farther, but recognizing that in this love we have of ourselves, it must be rooted in openness. If at any time you need to place the right sole of the foot back on the mat, or maybe even take the pressure off of that left wrist and place the left forearm on the block or a bolster, please feel free to do so. Right? Those are acts of love for yourself. On your next breath, let's place the right sole of the foot back down on the floor. Place the palms back to the mat and step our right foot back to meet the left. And let's do the other side. So let's bring the left knee in, forward, and step the left foot in the middle of your hands. Heel toe the left foot to the left width of the mat. And then begin to lower the hips to a point that feels good for you. Maybe extend the right leg long, so tuck your toes and just move that right leg back. Increase that stretch down the front hip. Place the right hand on the outside of the mat. And then begin to press the left palm on the left knee. You know, how can we love ourselves through all the different emotions and thoughts that we have? Knowing that it's okay to be complex. Knowing that we are still ourselves at the end of the day. Building a relationship with ourselves, one that is full of love, listening, and openness, is so important because of how it will translate to how we care for others and how we can view others, right? And that actually reminds me of what Lindsay Mack says about the High Priestess card and how it is a recognition that the moon changes through the phases, but she is still the moon. And so too, going through all these emotions on the mat, you are still yourself, right? You are not your thoughts. You're not your emotions, although your emotions and thoughts are very important to who you are. They are not you, right? We can hold space for relative and absolute truths here. Right, slowly, let's place that left foot back on the mat if you haven't already, and bring the palms back on the middle of the mat. Step the left foot back and come into a quick little child's pose here. Ooh. Your next breath, inhale, slowly lift yourself back up. All right, so for our next pose, we are going to be lying down on our back. Take the block, bend your knees, lift the hips just a scooch, and place the block so that it is resting on your sacrum, your low back, the little triangular bone. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift the left leg, then lift the right leg, and simply dangle here, right? You might feel balance start to readjust, so toggle yourself, reshift, and let the arms fall down by your sides. And as always, you can close your eyes, starting to feel the blood drain from our extremities, which can be uncomfortable. So if you need to wiggle the toes or move the legs and shake them out, please do so. And if it ever does start to feel like too much, just bring the legs down. All right, we're gonna be in this pose for the next few minutes. So connect to your breath. And if it's too much, then always just take a break, right? This practice is one of love. One where we are truly listening, when we're not lying to ourselves or abusing ourselves, right? There's no need to punish. There's no space for that in our yoga mat on our yoga practice. I know it can sometimes seem a little bit wishy-washy. You might scoff to hear about these things, but really this practice is an invitation to open up. And recognizing that we become powerful when we do so, right? When we close ourselves off, when we push ourselves, that's when we become more fragile, more resistant, more brittle. Right? We want to be adaptable, flexible, agile. Well, at least those are the things that I want. Because those are the ways that I can see myself coping with change, right? Reacting to change with some grace and healthy coping ways, right? This is your practice, so simply staying here, breathing. You are doing the work each inhale and each exhale that you take. We are nourishing our souls as much as we are nourishing our bodies, right? Noticing where your body is holding tension right now and where you can relax. And by relaxing, I'm inviting you to surrender and soften and melt and breathe into those areas that may need a little bit more love and attention, a little bit more awareness and consciousness. And if you are not feeling too much right now, that is okay as well. If you're not sure what you're feeling, that is okay as well. That is the practice. And if you're simply enjoying being here, then continue to be where you are. Some days this pose can make me feel really quite agitated, but today it's feeling a little bit more calming, so I'm curious how you are all feeling right now. Do a nice little check-in with yourself. Take a final few breaths here. On your next exhale, slowly let's lower one leg on the floor, then the other leg, planting both feet on the ground. Let's shift the block out to the side, move our feet to the widths of the mat. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the left knee in and turn the right knee out, and simply stay here, okay? Extend the arms long, opening up your wingspan, and you can look over the left shoulder. Okay, so we're winding down to the final poses to our practice. If you might find that the left knee going into the mat is a little bit intense, you can always place a bolster for a little bit more support, right? So just checking out how that feels for you. And we'll simply breathe here. We'll stay in this one a little bit shorter. Alright, inhale, bring the knees back to center. Plant the feet on the widths of the mat. Cross the right leg over the left leg. Inhale, lift the hips just a scooch, and then lower the knees over to the left side. Right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna straighten the left leg, straighten the right knee out to the left side, and then we're gonna bend the left knee and see if we can grab onto the left foot with our right hand. Right, and you can place the left palm on the right knee if you want a little bit more support, and then we're just gonna look over the right shoulder. Coming into cat's tail. And we'll take these last asanas a little bit quicker. And on your next breath, let's bend the right knee and bring the knees both back to center. Readjust the hips. And let's do that windshield wipe on the other side. So this time, bring the right knee in towards the middle of your mat and bring the left knee out. This time again, spread your arms, spread the wings, and look over the right shoulder. And as we close off today's practice, I invite you to think of, feel into one aspect of your practice today that was full of love and compassion for yourself. One moment where you listened, truly listened, with no judgment perhaps. Whatever that moment is, I invite you to think of it, to feel into the truth of it, knowing that these little things add up. These little things are the bedrock, the foundation. Of a healthy self-esteem, healthy self-worth, confidence, of trust and intuition and belief in yourself. By trusting into what your body is telling you, you are making a connection with your physical body, right? And we were given a body for a reason. The body has much to tell us. On your next inhale, let's bring the knees back to center. Readjust the hips, and I'm just moving so that I have enough room to extend my leg out to the right side. But essentially, your feet are planted on the widths of the mat. But essentially, let's bring the knees together across the left leg over the right. Inhale, lift the hips, scooch them over to the left side, and then lower the knees. Right, once the knees are lowered, you can straighten the left leg out to the side. Keep the bend in the right knee, and maybe see if you can, with your right foot, move the right knee back towards the left side of the mat, and then grab onto the right foot with the left hand, and then look over the left shoulder. Again, you can place the right hand on the left palm. And as always, making this practice authentic and real and personal for you, right? And that means sometimes doing something different from what is being shown or guided, knowing that there are many different ways of getting into this pose. And that there are many days and weeks and years to practice this as well, right? So I truly want to thank you for being with me, taking this time to be with yourself as well. It's been such an honor to guide you through these 30, 40 or so minutes. And I hope that as we continue back into the swing of things, back to school, back to work, that you continue to devote and prioritize your rest, which is very radical, right? Especially if you're a woman of color, especially if you're a BIPOC. But for all of us living under this go, go, go hustle mentality, continue to value your rest, value your energy, right? This is vital for our health and well-being. So do your yoga, do your breathing, do your meditation, do your napping, do whatever gives you joy, rests and restores you. There are many types of rest, which I get into in my group program, Radical Rest. So you can do a little bit more research on that. Slowly you can release that right foot if you have it. And bring your knees back to center. Adjust the hips. Extend the legs, arms down by your sides, and come into that Shavasana, which you've earned it. Just taking this time to bless ourselves, blessing this opportunity to get to know ourselves a little bit more with love and compassion and open eyes. Taking this time to bless those we are in connection with, those we are in community with, knowing that this work that we do for ourselves is in tandem with the work that we do for others, that it all feeds back towards each other. And finally, blessing Mother India for providing us with this practice, this holistic practice devoted to our soul evolution, our well-being, and our health. So thank you so much for being with me today, and I hope to see you next time.